Hey guys, so I'm here at church and I'm kind of waiting for my ride so I can go to work. But I just wanted to say that today's message was really powerful. And when is it not, When is God not speaking to me? You guys, hold on. Okay, so it won't be so shaky, right? But seriously, when is God not speaking to me, you guys? Like, wow. I'm just baffled. I'm like blown away right now, seriously. And I wrote notes, so you guys will hear them at work. And I will have an hour to talk, per se. Um, but yeah, God spoke to me again. Surprise, surprise. Okay, so I guess that's about all I have for right now. Um, I'm fired up. I'm kind of shaky and nervous because I had an energy drink, which was like the worst thing I could have done, but I did it. And I didn't get to bed till like 3 o'clock in the morning last night, so I had a hard time waking up. And yeah, that's not good. But it is what it is. I almost couldn't get out of bed because I was so exhausted, but I woke up half an hour later and well got out of bed half an hour later and I didn't have a chance to eat breakfast, but that's okay. God is working in other ways, right? So yeah, I can't wait to update you on what happened, and I guess I'll talk to you guys later. Bye. Hey guys, so like hold on, this is too shaky. Okay. um I just wanted to show you my Mother's Day gifts that I got. Some of them. I have some at work that I wasn't able to bring home yesterday because I had a whole ton of stuff that I was bringing home, including these. So hold on just a second and I'll show you. I don't know if this works or not, but yeah. See, I love this. It's a little planner, and my mother loves elephants, so I thought that would be perfect for her. And this, she wanted a head vase, and this is a head vase, so it that is some change that's inside of there. That's what that noise is, but yeah, I love this thing. And I put my other one, I'll show you guys, because the other one that had the defect on it, hold on. That means I have to change my other, oh, sorry, I wasn't talking into the mic. I don't know if that makes a difference or not. But I'll have to put my other light on too. Hold on. Right, guys, so I have this, and this is on top of my dresser. I got that at a thrift shop. I love it, you guys. So I put that in along with everything else. Everything has a story here. Yeah, my alarm clock's on there too, so I can read it when I'm in bed. um, yeah, that is really old, that Snoopy, and it was my grandmother's, and she passed away. And then that was my grandmother's as well from the St. Lawrence, and I took that from her house when she passed. And then I have that. I have cats. I love cats. You know, So that's basically, I had that in my fish tank. When I had fish, I love it. I have some old cards here. Um, my old cat who passed, you know, just some stuff that I really, really like. I used to have a ton more stuff on here, but I gave it all away to the clothing drive because they accept anything and everything. And I had just had it because I had so much crap on this thing. So, hi guys. I just wanted to give you a quick update. Not much is going on today, basically. I'm in my usual spot, but it's not very warm out. It's kind of cold, and I don't know. Um, we're on the brink of rain. It's been raining for the last past week or so. But anyway, tomorrow is the clothing drive. And yes, I'm gonna try to get there early so that I don't have to knock on the door to get in. And I don't know. Let me think. There seems like there was a lot more I needed to say, but yesterday I lost a cat. I When I moved down here, I had 7 cats. Now I'm down to 2. I I lose one a year at least, so that is not good. We have, I don't know what happens. I think something in the house makes them sick. Um, or something. I don't know, but they all seem to get sick before they expire, and my goodness, I'm gonna miss a lot of them. I've had cats all my life growing up, and yeah, I'm sorry I'm so shaky. I'm trying to figure this stupid thing out. Hold on. Duh, Sarah. Don't put your finger over the camera lens, duh. Anyway, yeah, I was pretty sad over that. Her name was Martin, because I was told it was a boy when I first got her. So we always called her Baby Martin, and it got so bad that like the day before yesterday, I'm sorry you guys can't see me. Anyway, the day before yesterday, she was she couldn't even stand up. Um, it was like she was on drugs or something. She just kept falling down, and she was always really thin, and she could barely eat anything. She had really small, tiny teeth, and I think that 90% of them were gone. So she could hardly eat anything, and I don't know. I It's very sad, but um and then I got to thinking, you guys, okay? Today is Thursday, and I got to thinking that how about how God has been speaking to me, and I swear to you, every time, you guys, every time I go to church, every time I'm listening to like a sermon from Billy Graham, you know, every time God is speaking to me, I swear. And I don't know. I have been looking to set up a fundraiser. Well, I don't know exactly. I guess it is a fundraiser. It just doesn't have an end date, if that makes sense. Um, it's actually a setup for merchandise for this channel, maybe. Um, that would help me with my my charity, and I have uh through an AI program, I have some photos that I want to use. They're actually like hand sketched drawings and cartoons of my logo and just different ideas for the shirts and the bags and the clothes that I'm gonna be selling and stuff like that. Um, so I think that's a really good idea. I want to go through with that, and I don't know, guys. Um, I was just in the dollar store, but I couldn't find anything. I'm running out of money, and yeah, I need some of it to be for church for the offering, and yeah. So I don't know. I gotta think about things here. Um, I'm just majorly impressed how God speaks to me. And okay, so I meant to say this before, but I totally forgot. I don't know if you guys can hear me. It's awfully loud out here with all these cars. But anyway, there was what was I gonna say? Oh, okay. So as you know, my pastor and his wife have a charity called the Hope Foundation, and uh, when I left church the other day, uh, I saw one of her business cards and I took it and I thought, I can see my name on a business card like this. Granted, I don't have a college degree, but she did, so she, I don't know, it was on the business card, so I mean, not like that matters, I'm just saying. And so, what else was I gonna say? Oh, I've been thinking also, you guys, about writing a book about charities or I don't even know what. Something to do with God, obviously. Um I'm not that great of a writer, at least that's what I think, but I can write better than I can do algebra, let's just say that. Excuse me. So, I think it's going to rain again soon. Luckily, I'm under here. I have a sweater and a sweatshirt and a coat on because it is really that cold. When I woke up, it was like 40 some odd degrees. So, I'm just sick of this and I'm sick of the rain. I just wish it would be a nice sunshine day and yeah. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing today. Um I'm kind of bored right now. Sorry, but I am. Uh, I thought about walking over to the dollar store, but I mean, not the one that I usually go to, Family Dollar, but the real dollar store, Dollar Tree. But I really don't feel like walking all that way. And I could take a taxi, but that would be money, and I don't really want to spend that money. So I think I am just going to chill. Um, yeah. I really honestly don't know what else to do. I didn't, well, yeah, I didn't spend any money at the Family Dollar. I was in there for like an hour trying to figure out what to do, but I thought I don't really need anything. I thought about buying some infant stuff for my charity, but then I thought, no, I really don't have the money right now. And I wanted to get some clothes for the infants too, but I can do that tomorrow at the clothing drive. I think if that would be awesome, you guys, to have um and I don't mean to be like sound rude, I guess. Like, I know there are people that could use it, and I'm not going to get a million things from the clothing drive for it, but there are things at the clothing drive that nobody has ever picked up in months. And if they stay there for a while, they go to the thrift store. So I'm just going to focus on stuff that's been there for a while, if that makes sense. I think the the charity really needs it. Sorry, it's so noisy. Wow, that's annoying. But anyway, nobody's out here. There's a lot of trash on the ground, and honestly, I'm half tempted to pick it up. There's a lot of litter all over, and it just irks me that it's here. So maybe I'll make good use of my time and do something productive like that. Um, Other than that, guys, I honestly don't think there's much else to say. I am working on a GoFundMe. Um, Actually, I read online that the GoFundMe is not a good idea because there's a lot of scams. So I'm looking into another website. And like I said, like it takes a lot of your money too. Like the people who donate, they have to pay a fee, and I think that's ridiculous. So instead of that, I think what I'll do is I'll just look for another website. Um and I'm looking to make the merchandise to sell. Like I think it would be awesome if we were able to do something like that. Um I know. I'm not a woman of my word because earlier on in the videos, I said I would never do that. But it's come to a point right now that maybe I'm thinking I could do that for extra income. And obviously for the charity. So I guess that's about it. I'm sick of being outside because it's so cold. I think I'm going to go back into work, and I don't know what I'm going to do there, but we'll figure something out. All right. Hi. I know I don't have my microphone on. I just thought about that. But anyway, I'm waiting for my ride at the after the clothing drive, and I don't know. It was kind of disappointing because they didn't have a lot, and I kind of expected there to be a lot more. But I did get some infant clothes that have been there for like 6 months, and they usually go to the thrift store, but today they're going home with me for my charity. That's all I can think about. And I don't know, guys. I'm happy to be able to get all of that stuff. I only took like 2 things of the infant stuff, and that's about it. But it's a cold, rainy day. Otherwise, I'd be walking home. But yeah, I don't know. I gotta go home and I gotta figure out what I'm going to do for merchandise. And what was the other one there? The GoFundMe page and stuff like that, you guys. Like, I have a vision and I have an idea in my head that God wouldn't have given me this idea if He didn't want it to come to fruition and if it was impossible. So I believe God can make things all possible. Amen. And, I'm hoping and praying that this is something that I can get done. I'm not sure though. Like, I'm nervous. I just want people, especially teen mothers, to be able to have enough for their babies. So that's why I got some infant clothes. And my ride is here. So I'll get back to you guys. Never under. Wait. Okay, yeah, I can't do that. Shoot. Okay, so I'm going to be bringing back an oldie. Hold on. I got to figure out how to do this, okay? At the point of no improvement, when the depths I still drowned in. But I feel no movement. I'm free of this unreleasable sin. Never underestimate my Jesus. I'm telling you you're wrong. Never underestimate my Jesus. All around you crumbles. He will be strong. He will be strong. My hands. Oh, the impossibilities. They narrow. Where do I go from here? That was before. The confidence I lost so willingly. Under the obstacles means coming in the field. Never underestimate my Jesus. The new year, no hope. I'm telling you, you're wrong. Never underestimate my Jesus. When around you crumbles, he will be strong, he will be strong. I think I can. Think you can, I think you. I am an instrument of expectation. Haunted with the light above all names. Hear me melody of all creation. This song of duty, no way I can sing. What is worthy? I've had just enough of the spotlight when it burns bright. See how it gets in the blood. And I've tasted my share of the sweet life in the wild ride. And found a little, it's not quite enough. I know how I can stray, and how fast my heart could change. Empty me of the selfishness inside, every vain ambition, and the poison of my pride, and any foolish thing my heart holds to. Lord, empty me of me so I can be filled with you. I've seen just enough of the goodbyes and the best lies. They know how prodigals can be drawn away. I know how I can stray, and how fast my heart could change. Empty me of the selfishness inside, every vain ambition, and the poison of my pride, and any foolish thing my heart holds to. Lord, empty me of me so I can be with you. 'Cause everything is a lesser thing compared to you, compared to you. 'Cause everything is a lesser thing compared to you. So I surrender. Empty me of the selfishness inside, every vain ambition, and the poison of my pride. Empty me of the selfishness inside, every vain ambition, and the poison of my pride. Nay, foolish thing my heart holds to. Lord, empty me of me so I can be. Empty me of me so I can be filled with you. Filled with you. So, hi. So, I've tried to make this video so many times, and I apologize, but okay, so I feel like all of this has to come to fruition, my charity, because all the glory be to God, because if God wouldn't have given me the idea if he didn't want it to happen, right? So, um, I've been trying to plan things out, and I've been, um, trying to get some merchandise created. Although I'm not a woman of my word because I said I would never do something like that. Um, just for the fundraising situation and GoFundMe, but not GoFundMe, if that makes any sense, because GoFundMe is full of scams, and I think something like that would be awesome, well, to request some money, and I got some infinite clothes. Hold on, just a second. These have been at the clothing drive that I volunteer at forever, and they were going to go to the thrift store, so I just took them because I wanted them for the charity, you know? This is really cute. So, anyway, that's what I got today. They didn't have a whole lot there, but um, hold on. I also got this. I thought this was awesome. It's a vest, and I think that would be so cool. So, I think that's about all I got. I got some pajamas for myself, but not like I really needed them, but they were there. And so basically that's about it. But the if this was impossible or if this was something God didn't want me to do, then I would not be doing this. I swear to God. But since he gave me the idea and I want to obey, I've been trying to get some ideas together and writing them down in notebooks. And I want to have like a pet food drive and also like pet toys and pet stuff for people who can't really afford, to take care of their pets, I guess. Definitely the teen mother drive. I think that's awesome, and that's what these clothes that I just showed you guys are for. This is the cutest thing ever. Um, you know, um, I'm just hoping like if I were to have a toy drive this year, hopefully it would go well. And hopefully I can eventually talk to my pastor about publicly talking to the church about all these donations and everything. I have a problem with that, but I love stage fright, so I don't think it would like bother me. But the thing is, like, something that would bother me, and this is stupid, but it's true, is being on the phone. Like, I cannot tolerate being on the phone. I hate it. But obviously, I'm gonna have to be on the phone for, you know, this charity. So, it will only benefit me in the future, but yeah. Oh, and something else that I got for Mother's Day. Hold on, let me turn on this other light here. Okay, so anyway, I got two of these. Uh, for a present, I got two of them at work, and my mother really needs them, I figure. So that's why I did that. My tablet is here. I was jamming out to some Christian music, but and I was going to record it and I did, but it turned out to be like so bad that I'm not going to put it up, unfortunately. Um I've been trying to clean up and get some stuff together. I don't really know what to do with all these clothes here. I mean, it's nothing compared to what I'm going to have, but I need a place for them, and you know, I don't know. I'm nervous. I don't even know why. I just am. Um, but this is something that is so exciting, you guys, and I'm just hoping I can raise enough money. And I'm asking for over $1 million, I think. Well, because my pastor and his wife, they have their charity, and that's how much money they requested for grants. And I can't write grants because I'm not an established charity, blah, 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 blah. Anyway, um, but that was something else I wanted to say is that the there was a business card with the wife's name on it and phone number and the whole nine, and it said she had a PhD or something, and I don't have any college credits. Well, degree. Um, and I could just imagine when I saw that card, my name being on a business card. And not like it's all about me, because it's not, but I also feel the need to write a book. And I'm not really sure how to do that because I'm not that great of a writer, but I'm kind of thinking maybe God is telling me that I need to go in that direction, if that makes sense. So that was something else that I wanted to say. Um, Other than that, I think that's about it, guys. Like, today was a clothing drive. I didn't record a lot of it, but I did record some of it, and I didn't have to knock on the door to get in because I was there early enough. And I don't know. Sunday is Mother's Day, and I plan on recording church with my tablet, and you know, I'm not sure what else is going on, but I feel like I really need to sit down and fill out what's going on with this whole charity thing. Um, I need to contact some local businesses. Maybe they can help me. I also need to contact some major businesses such as Crayola or Gerber or some major Amazon, Walmart, what have you, and ask them to sponsor me. And maybe they can provide some items of assistance for me so I could give them to people who need them. I don't know. And then I can say, shop at Walmart because Walmart sponsors me or what have you. Um, that was something else that I had thought of, and I haven't really done a lot about it. I haven't really done much, to be honest with you. Not for the charity. I mean, I've been busy in other ways, but my goodness, I need time to sit on my butt and do this stuff. This is ridiculous. There's so much. And I wish I could have somebody work with me, but, it is what it is. And then when I get all that money from fundraising, hopefully, I can find a building or a business that I can store all my stuff at and maybe start like the clothing drive or something. But anyway, like I was saying before, I need to ask the pastor if I can get up in front of everyone and request donations, like clothing, for example, because there's a bunch of infants that are there. And obviously, you can't have the infant wear the clothes for years, just for a few months. And I don't know. They probably don't have any place to get rid of their stuff, so hopefully I can come in and save the day for them. Um all glory be given to God. I have this is going to take a while to set up and everything, guys, but yet again, at the same time, I'm thinking, I had years to do all of this and I didn't do anything. I wasn't sure, like, where to go or what to do with all of this. So, anyway, um, I don't know. I'm, I don't even know. But I did not sleep at all last night because I was so excited about today and the clothing drive and going there and hopefully I was hoping to get a ton of stuff and I really wanted to look at the infant stuff and see what I could get my hands on for my charity, but obviously that didn't really work out all that well. I am grateful though for the stuff that I did get, but yeah, I have a lot more work to do, I guess. So, anyway, I don't know. I just hope it all works out, you know. I guess I just give it to God, and that's the only way I'm ever gonna get by with all of this stuff. So, anyway, I guess that's all for the update. But if I think of anything else that I want done in the charity, I will definitely tell you guys about it. I'm not too worried about a website. I don't really care. But I do need to get on to the the GoFundMe. That's not a GoFundMe because of all the scams. I did set up a GoFundMe, but now I'm like, no, that's not a good idea because I read online that there's tons of scams on it, and there are. And there are other sites that won't take your money and or take a donation from the people who donate. So I don't know if that makes sense, but that's what I've been thinking about lately, you guys. I think after this, I'm just gonna go and just plot it all out, I guess. I have 30 notebooks, I bet, in front of me. And I'm hoping I can fill up all of them, you guys, with some direction from the Lord. And, I got the idea of the Teen Mom thing. Oh my goodness. Okay. Here we go. Blah, 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 blah. Real quick. So, my last church, which is about half an hour away from here, there was this woman who was a guest speaker, and this was years ago. And she still runs her charity because I looked it up online, but she has all this free stuff for the kids who are mothers. So I felt God talking to me one day last week, I think it was, and he said, Sarah, I want you to do the same thing. And I'm like, oh my goodness, because that has always been on my mind lately. Like, and that's one of the reasons why I'm not a mother, but it's not all about me. I get that, but I'm just saying. Because it's so expensive, you guys, And I'm thinking, how can anyone afford that, especially kids, And there are a lot of people out here who can't. And I need to give back to the community. So, anyway. I guess that's about all I have. You know, um, this is a huge undertaking, but I'm not like complaining. This is a really, really good thing that's coming to light. Hey guys, so I'm really tired. Like, I didn't sleep at all last night because I was so excited about the clothing drive, and it didn't turn out to be so hot. But it's not all about me, and I hope that uh, God is able to bless a lot of people tomorrow who come and get a lot of stuff. But the reason why I wanted to make this video before I went to bed was because I am still baffled at how much God has spoken to me and the places that He has taken me. And I never really expected it to happen. But I don't know. I'm just baffled at like how every time I go to church or read the word or what have you, I hear from God, and I never thought in a million years He would be talking to me so much. And ever since I've been making these videos, really, he has been constantly trying to get my attention, like with my loneliness and the guy at work who I thought liked me, and then I saw him with that other girl, and the whole nine. Um, it's just amazing how God is trying to form a relationship with me, I guess you could say, or trying to connect with me. And honestly, I never in my life, well, maybe that one time, like I said, when I was in high school and I got bullied a lot, and he told me that Jesus experienced a lot worse than that. He suffered so much for being on the cross, and that was about the only other time that I can think of in my mind that, So anyway, I'm so glad I'm able to share all of this stuff with you guys, and that you're able to see how God is working in my life. And I just feel lazy because I always say that I have to put the GoFundMe page up and all of the merchandise and all that good stuff, and I never do. And you know, like I said, I was up till like 3 o'clock in the morning last night, and I could barely get out of bed this morning. And I had set my alarm for like 10:15 maybe, and I expected to have to be at the church to set up by noon, but the thing is, I always get it wrong. On the website, I checked, thank God, before I went, and it was before 1, so I had a whole nother hour, thank God, because I didn't get up out of bed till like almost 11:30, I think, and yeah. So I just hope that we helped a lot of people. Well, I'm giving us credit. I mean, God. Give God the glory, Man. So, other than that, I don't know as if there's much else going on. I don't think there is. And then it's almost Sunday again, so I wonder what God's going to say to me this time. And I'm hoping and praying I can get the pastor to agree that I can accept donations of clothes, of food, of what have you, for my mission. Man. Like, maybe I'll ask him as soon as I get into church, because he goes around and introduces himself and says hi to us and everything, and that's more than any other pastor has ever done at any church I've been to, and he seems like he's very genuine and very caring, a kind man. And not like my other pastors haven't been kind or whatever, but I don't know. This is a different kindness, I guess. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know how to explain it, but yeah. So hopefully I can get a good sleep tonight. I think I'm just going to read my Bible and get to bed. But yeah, things are just, they're wonderful. I have a friend from Wisconsin who I've never met her online. But when I used to make YouTube videos way back in the day, 20 years ago or more, she was the first person to reply. And she said, hey, I'd love to be your friend. You sound like me. So, I've been reading to her ever since. And, I don't even know what the point of that was. Sorry. There's a whole nother point to all that. Oh. So on Facebook, she asked me how my life was because she hadn't heard from me in a while. And I said, it's wonderful. And I didn't go into detail. And I said, I'm working on writing you a letter. And I'll get it in the mail ASAP and let you know what's going on. So, yeah. But I can't complain. I really can't, Like, life is good. And, there's just so much ahead. And I'm not complaining. I'm not. I'm just really happy that it's all gonna come into play. And, I am kind of scared, to be quite honest with you, even though God is in charge. Yeah, I have doubts that things aren't going to go as well as they should. And that's the enemy. And I get that. I really do, you guys. But I'm just saying, like, I hope I'm on the right path here and that things fall into place, It's exciting. It is. And it seems like it's impossible, but I know with God all things are possible, and nothing can stand against. And there was some other thing that I was going to say, but I don't know. Oh, even though it's not probable, it's not impossible about that. I just can't wait to be able to take my camera to the building that we're going to get and just show you guys and have somebody come and do construction and the whole nine, show you guys all the, like the storage area and what have you. Now, an obstacle that I've been thinking about is that if we do feed the homeless, which is what is on my mind, and having a restaurant, you're going to have the health inspectors come in, which isn't a big deal, but I'm just saying, like, you know what I mean? Like, that's, do you have to pay for, like, a license for that? I know you have to pay for, like, failing the health inspection, But I don't know, like, I bet you do. And I wonder how much that costs and the whole nine. But God will get us through that. I'm pretty sure He will. Like I said, if He didn't bring me to it, then I wouldn't be able to get through it. But you get my drift. Um, I don't know. Oh, and in the cafeteria, I want to have like fundraising dinners. I want to have a huge gymnasium. This has always been like part of my dream, and have like kids come. And parents pay, okay, to use the gym so we can make money that way. Okay. And have every activity you could ever imagine, like, oh, I don't know, the three-legged race and like flower sack races and, stuff like that. Just have a lot of fun. And the gym is going to be huge. It will be too. And I don't know. But yeah, if I do that, am I going to have like a medical, like, assistance team on hand, I don't know, but anyway. And I thought of having possibly a shelter. I'm not sure about that, but yeah, that would be cool, I think. And like, hmm, I need like 2 huge rooms, one for the food pantry and one for the other one there, the clothing drive. Well, and plus we're gonna have the pet supply and yeah, and the teen mom program. So I'm gonna need a huge building, I think. At least that's what I see in my head. Plus the animal shelter. But, I'm not gonna worry about it because God is in control, right? I think this is another opportunity that He's putting before me to see if I not only obey Him, but rely and trust in Him. And maybe it's a way for Him to show me or to tell me that He is in control and not to have to worry about things. That's another thing that might be going on. Have no doubt that's what's going on. Wow. So I'm kind of looking for a building that has been a restaurant, per se. Heck, I need a huge building like a mall or something the size of California. Yeah, right. But, I want to be able to offer money down on like the whole thing. Like, whether it means like if I'm going to have to rent or just purchase it outright. That way I won't have to have a storage unit either because everything would be there. I'd probably need like what is that? Security cameras and stuff like that. And I don't even know, but we'll figure it out. I'm not worried. I really am not. This is a dream that is finally coming true. And I don't know. But and I'm sorry, like, this is all I ever talk about, you guys. Like, but this is very, very exciting for me, obviously, for good reason, you know? So God is going to bless us, and He's going to bless this community, and hopefully, like I said, I can have this on the other side of town, like, not in this area here. Because I honestly don't think that people here are all that needy. Not nearly as bad as the other part of town. And these people already have a food pantry. And they already have the clothing drive. And like I mentioned, a lot of people don't drive. So they have to take a taxi or get a ride here somehow. And I don't know. It's just, you know, don't get me wrong. I mean, I'm very grateful, especially if and when this ever happens, which I'm pretty sure it will, but, you know, that's something else I have to decide. Like, if people do donate, okay, so after church, I go immediately to work. I have an hour between getting out of church and going to work and starting my shift. So, therefore, you guys, what am I going to do with the donations? Let's say 5 people donate a bunch of clothes at church. You know, I can't take it all with me because I have a ride from my friend's mother, and who is a coworker of mine, and you know, what am I supposed to do? Drag all that stuff to work, you know? So, no, I'm not complaining. I'm not. I'm just saying, like, I'm gonna have to figure out that, because maybe I'll just have to leave it at the church, and later on in the week, I could get a ride there and grab it or something. I'm not sure, but yeah. And then when I bring it here to my house, where in the world is it gonna go, you know? Pretty soon I can see this place filling up with crap. And, you know, again, it's not a complaint. I'm just saying, like, that's something I'm gonna have to figure out. I'm gonna have to, like, get it under control. But it is going to be a blessing. So, man, that's why I mentioned a storage unit, you know? And, I'm not sure, but we'll figure it out. And then, if this place that I get, this building that I get, is right next to church, I could just walk over after the fact and put it all in this building. But yeah, I definitely will show you guys on camera what is going on. And I just wonder what God has in store for me this week, you know? I gotta listen to more testimony and more sermons online, and, you know, I recommend Billy Graham. He's an awesome, awesome pastor, and he always talks about David and Goliath, and Joseph. I'm thinking of Joseph, but still David is another one that he talks about. But anyway, how Joseph's brothers sold him into slavery,
And he was like nobody. And then they anointed him, and years later, he became the king, you know? So, God only knows what's in store. Oh, my nose itches, sorry. But anyway, I'm gonna shut my big fat mouth and I'm gonna try to get some sleep because I'm exhausted and I just wanted to talk about how God has been speaking to me and how amazed, that's not even the right word. Surprised. I don't even know what the right word is, but whatever. How much that affects my life, in a good way. Man. Good night, guys. I will. Assuming I will talk to you tomorrow, I will definitely talk to you on Sunday. Okay, real quick here. I know I was just on and I said how God speaks to me and I couldn't believe it. Well, I'm reading from 1 John chapter 3 verse 16. This is how we know what love is. Jesus Christ laid down his life for us, and we ought to lay down our lives for our brothers and sisters. If anyone has material possessions and sees a brother or sister in need but has no pity on them, how can the love of God be in that person? Dear children, let us not love with words or speech, but with actions and in truth. So that really hit me. And I think there was something else, and now I can't see what else it was. I couldn't believe that when I read that. I read like the whole uh, chapter of John, First John. Dear friends, let us not let us love one another, for love comes from God. Everyone who loves has been born of God and knows God. Whoever does not love does not know God, because God is love. This is how God showed his love among us. He sent his one and only Son into the world so that we may live through him. This is love. And that is First John 4, chapter 7. So this is really speaking to me, and I just wanted to let you guys know that it never ends, which is a good thing. Hey guys, so um church was pretty good, and I have a lot to say. I did take some notes. Um but right now I think I'm gonna eat, and then I'll go from there, you guys. I don't know. Um, there's a lot of good things that have happened, and I'm really, really grateful and thankful and happy. But eh, I don't know. Wait until you hear what's going on. Okay, guys. So I don't even know where to start because things have been so crazy, but in a good way, you know. Like, okay, so a few nights ago, I was listening to a sermon from Billy Graham, and he said that a lot of people will not get into heaven because they haven't forgiven everybody that they needed to forgive. And I really expounded on that and I really thought about that. And I asked God, because what we need to do is we need to ask God for the tools to forgive. And I thought about that, and I thought about who in my life I had trouble with that, and I prayed about it. And what else? Then last night there was another show. I don't know if anybody's ever heard of it or ever watches it, but it's called Your Move with Andy Stanley. And Andy wasn't on it. He had a special guest, and all I got from it was that your hardships and your life circumstances and the place where you are right now in life is not dependent on what God thinks of you. And I thought that was pretty powerful, you guys. You know, because this guy who was preaching said that he was a teenager and his father was dying. I don't know why, like what type of ailment or illness or whatever he had. I think it was cancer. And he kept praying to God and saying, God, please provide a miracle and please help my father to live. And the father passed away, and the man was mad at God because he didn't answer his prayer. And today at church, um, Pastor Jared said that, you know, don't focus on petty things, don't focus on stupid things that aren't going to matter in the future. And the biggest thing, well, there were a couple big things. There was a guy, and I get emotional, and I cried so bad because there was this guy. He was really young. He had a wife and a baby daughter. It looked like she was a newborn. And he said that 6 or 7 months ago, he was a drug addict. And praise God, somebody led him to Christ. I don't know who it was, whether it was our pastor or who, but praise God. And he got baptized. I thought that was pretty powerful, you guys. I thought that was pretty amazing. And, it just reminds you of what God can do. And another thing that happened is that I was terrified, you guys. I woke up this morning, okay, and I was so grateful. And I just prayed God, and I prayed and prayed and prayed about this whole charity thing, right? Well, guess what? I actually had the courage to go up to my pastor and ask him if we could do the clothing drive. And I just want donations right now. And he said yes. And that is so amazing because he said he has a woman who can help me, who runs a salon across town, and she has foster kids. She could even collect the clothes at her house. And that was a huge, huge blessing for me because I had prayed to God. And I told him, I said, God, I am so afraid to go to Pastor Jared about this. And I told Pastor Jared that, and he goes, you shouldn't be afraid. And, wow, I can't believe it. Things are coming into production. Things are actually moving right along, and I am so grateful. And I had enough courage and everything. And Pastor Jared said he didn't want the clothes to be stored in the basement, which I could totally understand, you guys. But that was something else I had prayed about this morning with God. I said, God, this is a problem. This is a hardship because I have no place to put this stuff. I don't know what to do. I can get a storage unit, I can get whatever, but I need your help. And if I hadn't gone to Pastor Jared, imagine what would have happened, you guys. I would just be wishing and hoping in my head that I would have enough strength or enough courage or enough what have you to go to somewhere else. And what if they said no? God led me to the right people. And I am just flabbergasted, but in a good way, Like, I am just shocked that all of this is working out, you guys. Like I said, with God, all things are possible. And if God didn't give me the idea, then where would I be? Then it wouldn't be happening, I guess, is my point. And I can't tell you how happy I am. I woke up with a good attitude, you guys. Today's Mother's Day. I'm blown away, I guess. And I can't believe it. I conquered this obstacle, and I was also praying this morning to God about helping me find people to help me with this. And I told Pastor Jared, I said, Pastor, I need some help with this, And that woman that he recommended that owns that salon is part of the solution, I guess. So what if I hadn't done that? What if I had just kept quiet, So I think that's all a part of obeying, and being faithful and trusting. And I also thought this morning, you guys, that this was a test from God to see how faithful and how courageous I was going to be, if I was going to listen to him, if I was going to obey, if I was going to whatever, and I did it. And so I'm really happy. Glory be to the Lord. Like, this is amazing, you guys. I'm trying to change the world here, I just talked to a coworker who was also a believer, and she said that she had a lot of clothes for me for the clothing drive. So, and it all started with this thought that maybe, and it was from the enemy. I know it was from the enemy. And so weren't all these obstacles. Where am I going to put the clothes? What is going to happen? How am I going to do this? Blah, 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 right? Well, the thing is, the first thing, I don't know if you guys remember this or not, but I was talking to my mother about this. And she said that most people in this church format would not be able to donate because they are so underprivileged. And I thought that was just an obstacle from the enemy. It's certainly not from God. But again, it could have been a test, Yes, it's going to be hard. Yes, there's going to be obstacles. Yes, whatever. There's going to be negative thoughts. There's going to be negative things that happen, blah, blah, blah. But then I heard that other sermon from Pastor Billy Graham, and it said, the more obstacles you face, the closer you are to your goal. Because the enemy will do anything and everything in his power to stop you. So that makes sense, you guys. So I am just beyond happy. I'm over the moon right now, and I can't even tell you how happy I am. And my pastor was so happy, and I am just so blessed, you guys. So I need to find a storage unit or something, some way to put the clothes. And I was thinking that maybe that woman that the pastor told me about could help me with that. How can people, and maybe there's somebody who doesn't believe in God who's listening right now, but how could people not believe? Especially after I have this testimony of this charity and everything. How could people say, oh, that's just a coincidence or, whatever? You know what I mean? Like, I was terrified, you guys, to go. And I was waiting for my ride, and I saw the pastor. This was at the end of service, obviously. And he was talking to these young men who were guests, and he was done with them. And I just thought, just do it, Sarah. Just do it. Just go over there and talk to him. And praise God that he gave me the strength and the wisdom and the courage and the whatever to go over and talk to him. And wow, I'm blown away, you guys. Like, I can't even tell you how happy I am right now. And there were other things that I took notes on that I will get to later. I just wanted to share the good news, and I'm speechless. I mean, that's all there is to it. I'm so speechless right now, and I'm gonna cry. To God be the glory. It has nothing to do with me. It really doesn't. It's not because of me. It's because of him, right? So, wow. What if I didn't go to church? What if that voice in my head, I told that voice in my head to that said go to church? What if I said no? Or I will later on in my life, or whatever. I had some excuse, you guys. This is all coming together, and I am so happy. Isn't it biblical that God says that he's going to work all things out for our good? And I want to work things out for his glory. But for the glory of God, this would not be happening, you guys. I am just blown away. you know, I don't know what else to say. Thank you. I mean, I'm really, really gonna have to start to get like donations together and stuff like that. I added, well, excuse me, I added a ton of stuff to the wish list on Amazon last night, and I stayed up till like 3:30 in the 4 o'clock in the morning because I was so excited about what God was going to say to me today at church, and he didn't talk to me as much as I would have hoped, as much as what I have thought, but praise the Lord Jesus Christ that he did what he did. He got me going for my charity. So, I'm amazed. That's all I can say, guys. Good stuff. So good. And another thing that I thought of while I'm sitting here is how I know that this is another plan that is going to work out is because remember that church dinner that I went to where a few women said that they needed clothes, and then one of those same women was the woman I met at the dollar store, remember? She was buying all these shorts there and talking about how she was going to wear them with these leggings because she wants to stay covered and blah blah blah. And I'm thinking, oh my goodness, this is a sign from God. They need a clothing drive. So, you know, I won't forget that, you guys. I will not forget that. Um, I'm trying to think if there's anything else. Oh, so, and I put this in my notes too, but I'm going to say it right now is the fact that maybe I could get a pro bono lawyer. Now, I looked it up years ago online and I tried to find somebody to help me with that, but that was years ago and obviously I couldn't find anybody. And maybe they can wait for payment until after I get like the GoFundMe money or something, you know? I'm not sure, but God put that on my heart as well, you know? I need to get this popping. I need to get this started. And I'm thinking, where in the world am I going to get all this money from? And this location and everything else. But God has it under control, right? He has it under his belt. I don't need to worry about it because God is in control, right? And like I keep saying, if he didn't want it to happen, it wouldn't happen. I would never have had the idea, you know? So I don't know, guys. But I'm thinking about how I want the layout of this building. Um I'm probably not going to have people construct it. Excuse me. I'm assuming that I'm going to have to buy a building that's already made. So I've been like listing all of the stuff I need, like the kitchen and the fryer and the tables and chairs and crap like that. And I want to have showers, like several of them for the homeless. I want to have a shelter for the homeless. Um, Tons and tons of bathrooms and maybe some washers and dryers for them. I don't know, guys. I'll provide the towels and the bed sheets. Um, but there was something else I wanted to say, and now I can't think of it. There's just so much going on right now, you know, in this head of mine. Um, I'm so happy to be able to make a video and share all this nonsense with you guys. I know it's not nonsense, but that's what I call it, you know. Um, I definitely want to have what is that? Like a Toys for Tots drive. My church does a lot of outreach like that, and I appreciate that. I love that type of stuff, obviously. I mean, look what I'm doing, you know? But, yeah. And I also believe that this is a sign from God. This is God speaking to me and telling me that I don't need to worry about any of it. God has it under control, right? Everything is going to work out. Mind you, these vlogs are not all about me. And I just wanted to put it out there to you guys. Imagine what life decisions, and I'm not trying to make people feel bad or regret anything or what have you, but imagine what life decisions in your past you did not obey God, or when God was speaking to you, you just ignored Him, or anything like that, you know? Um, wow. What if I never went to church? What if I just thought, oh, well, I'm not gonna, you know, provide an outreach for people? You know what I mean? Like, I just have to figure out how I'm gonna get all those clothes to another location, you know? And there's always the idea of a taxi and, again, the storage unit, you know? I think that's an awesome idea. And I told Pastor Jared that, and he was like, wow, like, you know, you actually expect to get that many clothes? But I do, and I think there's a huge need in our community, and there's a lot of kids and a lot of infants, and especially at church, and that's what they really need as well, because the clothing drive that I volunteer at, um, it doesn't get a lot of infant or children's clothing. So I'm hoping I can change that, you know. I feel so empowered, I guess, you guys. Like, seriously, this is like something I never in a million bazillion years would have imagined happening. Seriously. And God is using me, and praise God because of it, you know? I just, I always think I could do so much more for people and, you know, to serve them. And I'm not exactly sure how to go about doing it, but God will lead me to the proper place, I guess. And, you know, I'm sure there's a lot of people who will excuse me, I can't even talk, who will watch this and think, are you nuts? You know? But, you know, that's another thing. This morning, also, after I was praying, like I told you guys, I was singing a song, and it's called For the Moment I Feel Faint, and it's by Reliant K. So it's an old song. But anyway, I love that song. And it says, never underestimate my Jesus. And something about, you know, taking my insecurities and placing them in your hands. And I wrote more of it down because, you know, it was talking to me. And then there's another song by Vertical War. No. Yeah, Vertical Worship, I think is the name of the band. And it says, yes, I will. Yes, I will. Praise your name. Yes, I will. And I'm thinking, oh, that is so true. That is so true right now. You know? So all of this stuff is actually coming together. And wow. That's all I gotta say is wow. You know? I told the pastor, I said, praise God. Because, like I said, and I told him, I was so scared to go up to him and ask him that. And it sounds stupid and everything, but I was so afraid he was going to say no. Or, you know, I'm a social phobic, you wouldn't know it from these videos, but I am. Like, if I honestly don't have any friends. I don't talk on the phone. I hate the phone. That's going to be another huge obstacle for me is talking to these people to try to get a building and a construction team and the whole 9 yards. Maybe we can do a lot of remodeling then, but you know, um and the sponsors and the lawyer and the whole 9 yards, you guys, that it's going to take. It's going to I'm counting on God to empower me and to strengthen me and to give me courage. It takes a lot of courage, you guys. It does. And my pastor was telling us today how what a hardship it is to be a pastor, even though you are serving God and you are obeying Him and trusting in Him. It still is difficult. And with his wife's charity there, the Hope Foundation, you know, I'm still baffled at how that guy was baptized and gave his life to Christ after he was a drug addict. You know, praise God. I mean, you guys, that's huge to me. That's like, what's the word? It seems like it would be impossible, I guess, and not probable, but it happened. You know, with all things, with God, all things are possible. Excuse me, I can't even talk. I gotta go finish my sub and get ready for work, guys. But I appreciate you guys listening and being able to tell you the good news. Um, we are definitely going to be a faith based charity, and I'm gonna hand out like water bottles and blankets and Bibles and everything, you guys. Oh, that was another thing. Like I said, I had told this coworker who's a believer about all of this just now before I got my sub because she made it. And she said she has a lot of books for me. And I put two and two together. And last night I had thought about the shelter for the homeless. And I had thought about having bookcases and a big library of books, especially Bibles. And she's gonna give me the books for it. I can't believe how this is all coming together. Like, this is amazing. Like, wow, you know? I was, when I lived half an hour away, I went to the city and the other side of town, which is another half an hour away from where used to live. But anyway, and it was like, I went there for some group counseling one time, and one other person showed up, and they were a drug addict, and they said that they had just got high. And I was like, whoa. So they had to call the ambulance and the whole nine. But anyway, this place was great. It had couches, it had computers, it had a game room, and free exercise classes, fitness classes, a huge kitchen, and they taught culinary classes and stuff like that. And they had this huge TV and movie night and a bookcase full of books, obviously, and games, board games, and it was all for mainly for homeless people to come. And that's how I got that idea, you guys. So I am just beyond happy right now. And I don't know. I gotta hurry up and eat and whatever, guys. Sorry, but I hate to cut this short, but I will try to get back to you guys later today. Bye. Hi again, guys. So there was more to the story that happened since I made the last video, and I wanted to say that I talked to my coworker about getting those books, and I had that vision of there being a bookshelf or a library. And once you know it, another coworker came in, and his father had just passed away, and he said he had tons of his father's books, totes and tote bags and boxes full of books. So he doesn't drive. So, which is like 90% of the population around here. So, the woman that I talked to does. So, she's going to go to his house tomorrow because they both have the day off. And she's going to go through the books, and she's going to bring me the books that she doesn't want. And I think that is awesome because we just talked about that, right? So, me of little faith, that's what I was thinking when I was at work. Oh, ye of little faith. Because honestly, I didn't think things were going to fall into place like this. Especially when I asked my pastor if I could do this. I was shocked that he said yes. And that he talked about, that was another thing. So he talked about that woman with the salon, and he said she has a lot of foster children, and I thought that was really cool. And then he said something about teen mothers, and I'm like, no way. That's exactly what I was thinking, right? So how weird is that? I can't believe I forgot to say that before. And I think okay. Um so I've also been thinking about like feeding the homeless, right? And I'm thinking, that might be difficult to do, like to have the fryers and dump the oil, and to have a kitchen and the state inspectors come in and the whole 9 yards. So, and it would be expensive, but I thought about having a catering company come. And I've also thought about, and I put them on the Amazon wish list, having a bunch of gift cards for like McDonald's and Burger King and other restaurants. And, you know, there's no reason why people like that can't have a chance to go out and eat. And especially during like the holidays or like Thanksgiving or something, those would be really good to give out. Because I already have an idea that I'm going to fill up like some tote bags or backpacks or something with like blankets and toothbrushes and hairbrushes, toothpaste, the whole 9 yards. Socks are huge. Um, I I don't know why. Maybe they're hard to get for those types of people. I don't know, but that's a huge thing ever since I've been into the outreach field, because in my last church, we would make up these little baggies, and they were tiny, but they had like some coins in them and maybe like some gum and socks and all sorts of stuff. But I want to get something bigger. So I can't believe this is happening though. I'm just like blown away. How many times have I said that, right? But wow. And that song by Vertical Worship, working all things out. You're working all things out. Um there was another part to that I had just thought of, but now it's gone again. I guess that's what happens when you get 4 hours of sleep. But hey, I was excited. I was. Like, I was so excited to hear what was in store for me today. And, yeah, it's pretty good stuff, you know. And I also brought um, my notes. Let me see. I didn't take a lot of notes today, but I have some. Oh, I know what was the other part to that song, and I wrote it before. And it says, "Nothing will stand against." And there's just so many different things, you know. Something that I found interesting. Sorry, it's so noisy. But anyway, something that I find very interesting is like at church on our TVs, we have a saying or a quote or what have you, a statement that says, "Pray to change the world." And I was listening to Hagee, a sermon before I left for work today. Left for church, and my ride was late. And something that stood out to me, because I wrote it down, is the power of your prayers could change the world. Now, how weird is that, you guys? With God, all things are possible. You know, I needed courage so badly, you know. And this is a great story to be telling you. And not just you, but like anybody. Like, I want to get up in front of my church one day and say this testimony, you know, because it's awesome, you know. What I had for church is hard times produce faith. And another thing that was really, really interesting, and it caught my attention, you guys, is that my pastor said, you have to be on fire for God. Now, what are the names of these videos, you guys? Come on, right? If that's not a sign from the Lord, I don't know what is. And Jared said that he wanted a church like that, a church that's on fire for God. And in 1 Timothy chapter 1, verse 12, I put down, God saw a faithful heart, and he's enabled me. And there's so much more in your heart. You just have to give it up to God. Psalm 12:8 says, give things to God. And show people your faith, you know, represent God. The only way it gets done is to give it to God. And isn't that the truth, you guys? Oh my goodness. Look at the circumstances I'm in, right? And I still can't believe that baptism about that guy who was a drug addict. Like, wow, look what God can do, right? So, um, that's about all I have. Well, no, wait, I think there's one more page. Hold on. Um, he talked about being selfish and not giving tithes. And 2 Timothy chapter 1 verse 1 says, "Be strong in grace in Jesus Christ. You must endure in welfare." And another thing that we talked about is pettiness. Sorry. It's annoying, isn't it? Don't get involved with petty things, Don't argue about petty things. And may God give you understanding in everything. And then there's actually the back page of that. Hold on. Maybe even, yeah, there's another one. Okay. There's more than what I thought. Be strong in grace. You need grace to do things all days of your life. Do things wholeheartedly. Be strong and have confidence. If you read and pray, God will show you and make self real. Wow. Is that not talking to me or what? Believe in yourself, have confidence. God still loves you despite the circumstances. What did I just say, I talked about seeing that sermon last night about Andy Stanley and about how he said the same thing. Don't be cocky, don't be arrogant, but have confidence in yourself, And I think this is a huge message from God on my part, too, because, and again, I'm not trying to be arrogant or not give God the glory, toot my own horn, but at the same time, it was something that I need to do is to grow some confidence here. We have to love ourselves because God loves us. If God wants me to do it, then He'll allow it, right? Doesn't that make sense? Okay. And with the pettiness, it's here one day and gone the next, And when we are saved, we are part of God's army. And if you give up with whatever God's putting you through, like if I were to give up with this whole charity crap, then God's got to start over. And I remember, like, somebody said that the other day at church, too. And it also says, no strength from God, and man up, accepting as truth. So all of this stuff, you guys, is pretty powerful if you ask me. Set goals and set boundaries. God knows better than I do. Pray. Don't stop believing. And set goals. So I think that is an awesome, awesome thing for me to, number one, end on. Number two, to do it in my life, to apply it to myself, Maybe, we should have some catering, like I said. I don't think that would be a bad idea at all. Maybe I could get somebody to come in and cater and, then I wouldn't have to worry about all that food and cooking and volunteers doing it in the whole 9 yards, you know? I mean, again, maybe this is from the enemy, but like, I feel like it's really difficult to get volunteers, but our church does it a lot. And our church goes to a city an hour away and helps them with the feeding of the homeless. But, like, I don't know. I think it's confusion again, right? And you think in your head, well, that's never going to work. But it does. Look at what happened today, you know? I'm so happy about the whole book situation. I never thought in a million years something would happen like that, you know? So, um, I guess that's about all I have for right now. I don't know. I am so tired. Like, so exhausted. See, is God not testing me and asking me if I'm gonna obey Him and do what He says and, follow His direction? I mean, obviously, I'm relying on Him, I'm trusting, and He's providing. And I wonder if that was another test, too, to see if I would trust Him, which is fine and everything, but I'm just saying, I'm just making a point that, you know, I wonder if that's what all of this stuff is, you know? I wonder if, I don't know. How can you not help but wonder, How can you just sit there and say, oh, well, whatever happens, happens? No, it's going to require a lot of faith and a lot of trust and confidence and all of these things, courage. And there's that movie. It's a Christian movie called Courageous. I watched that. I cried my eyes out, you guys. I'm not gonna like ruin it for you, but there was a part in there that made me cry. But anyway, um yeah, we were made for so much more than going to work every day and earning a paycheck and paying the bills. So that's what the pastor said today. And that's what I'm trying to do is my purpose, Um, I so wish I had somebody who was here with me, a friend or something, that could help me out with this and that I could talk to and laugh and joke around and, just be so exuberant about all of this crap that's been happening. But unfortunately, I'm a loner and nobody's here right now, but all I can think about is this other Billy Graham sermon where he said, and I've mentioned this to you guys before, but he said, we were made to be set apart, and I wish I could just talk to someone about how all of this is falling into place, Like, maybe I should talk to the pastor about what he said and everything, Because I was just going to tell him that I needed help with all this, and he mentioned that woman from the salon and everything else, and he couldn't remember the name of the salon or the name of the woman, but he said a woman at the church could, but she wasn't there today, of course. And like I said, it was the end of service. People were leaving fast and furious, and you know, stuff like that. So I don't know. I could fall asleep right now. I swear to God. But I'm just I don't know what to say, you know? Like, talk about having a purpose, you guys. What I thought about doing is to, um, oh, like write floor plans about how I want my charity, and if we find a building that's already set up, I could always have somebody tear it down, the inside, and rebuild it, you know. And I want the words starting at zero, because that's the name of the charity, on the wall when you first come in big bold print, and possibly my not slogan, but like logo, which is a boy holding a girl who's crying. Yeah, I got that from an AI program, and I really like it. So anyway, like, I need somebody to be able to paint that mural for me. I can't even talk. Mural, whatever. And yeah, I need a good construction team who can do things based off my work plans, I guess. I said that was it, but I only talked for a few minutes, and it's only like 5 minutes after 6, so I have like a whole nother hour to go. And yeah, man, guys, like, I just don't know what to say, you know? Like, I'm so happy, and I can't complain about anything right now, you know? Like, that's just some good advice to you guys, is to ask God what your purpose is and to, like, obey Him, obviously. I mean, you're not going to get anywhere if you don't do that, but you know what I mean. Like, put it out there, you know? Just trust Him, because it's all in His hands, you guys. And not just this, but everything else. Like that coworker that I was talking about. Well, I'm not going to really say whether it was he or she or who, because I don't want you guys to know, especially if you know me personally. But somebody told me that somebody was having a hard time, and they went to the ER, and they need some major surgery. So I wanted to pray for them. I would go into detail, but then some people would be able to figure out who I'm talking about, and the whole nine. So I'm not going to. But yeah. Oh my goodness. I am falling asleep at the wheel here. I'm so glad today is done and over with. Although it was a really good day. And the first person that I talked to about the books, she also said that she will have more clothes. And, that's an awesome thing too. And I just hope I'm able to get a lot of donations. Like, I'm thinking maybe I should put a request out on Facebook. I did that before, and I actually got a ton of blows, because my old high school that I used to go to, when I lived in my old house again, I always say that, don't I? Anyway, they had just opened up a clothing drive there, which I think was awesome. And, I volunteered with that for a while, and I donated a ton of clothing right before I moved. And One girl that I went to high school with, who I hadn't seen since high school, she lived right near me, which I was surprised to learn. But anyway, she came with carload after carload of clothing from her daughters and her kids, and I thought that was pretty amazing. And my friend from Wisconsin, her mother sent all these boxes full of clothes. And, I just, I love to help people, And again, I'm not tooting my own horn here, but it just feels so good. And it's just like such a weight off your shoulders, especially now that I went to the pastor about all of this. And he said yes. I honestly thought he would say, no way, you can't do that. And like I said, I tried to like text him, or not text him, email him, but the email bounced back. It wasn't right, and it's on the website of the church, so something's got to give there. And I was so mad. I'm like, you've got to be kidding me, right? And then also, I think that same week or the week before, I had written on a piece of paper, Pastor Jared, I have a bone to pick with you. Not literally, but you know what I mean. Well, not figuratively either, but I said, I have an idea. I need to talk to you. Please email me. And I gave him my email address. Well, he never emailed me, so I don't think he got the message. And yeah. Anyway, um, I thought the only way I'm going to get this going is if I contact him. I have to talk to him. And I was going to do it last week at church afterwards, but I couldn't. I just could not get the words out. And like I said, I thought he was going to say no. But ye of little faith, right? Never underestimate my Jesus, right? Have faith. I'm so serious too when I say that. Like, and it's probably easier said than done for most things. But yeah, I have to look into a building. And like I said, I need like floor plans. And um, I'm not sure. Because, like, I was thinking about the gymnasiums. I was thinking maybe I could have like four of them or more, because one could be a family one could be for like infants and toddlers, and then one could be for, you know, let's say 5 to 10 year olds, and then beyond that, up to like age 18, I guess. But then I'm thinking, couldn't I get sued for that? Like if somebody got seriously injured or something. I remember I worked in an after school program. This was years ago. I was 18. I was still in high school. But anyway, um, I worked at a school and we were playing dodgeball. Not me, but the kids were. And we had like 50 kids we had to take care of. And one of them got hit in the nose with a ball, and we honestly thought he broke his nose. It bled so bad. He couldn't stop crying, he couldn't stop bleeding. It was a serious emergency. And I'm thinking, that's probably an accident waiting to happen, right? But yet I was thinking that parents could I could charge the parents and have like the kids gym, but now I'm like, I don't really know, because I really need ways to make money to do fundraising there. You know what I mean? Um, I think maybe the whole dinner idea, that's awesome for the people who can afford it to come in. And I don't expect them to pay $200 per plate because that's what we did when I worked at the drug and alcohol rehab center. Yeah, they expected people to pay $200 like to get in, and then like it was like $200 per plate after that or something. I don't know, but it's to me that's ridiculous. But I do want to have a donation box like at the front door. And like how they have those clothing bins and like library book returns that are outside that you pull the handle and you put the book in and you shut the door. Well, that's how I want to have like four of them, one for the pet drive, one for the teen mom, one for clothing, and another one for the food or something like that. I want people to just be able to drive up, put their donations in, and drive on out. Plus, I'm going to need like a security system, a surveillance system. Um, at first, when I thought about the shelter, I thought about having like little apartments. But then I was like, no, because we already have a kitchen. We're going to provide the food, and we're going to provide, the showers and the bathrooms and the whole nine. So what's the point? We're going to have clothing, just have like one big room with like mats in it or cots or, whatever. And I thought about getting like, and I put them on the Amazon wish list again, a bunch of like room dividers because wouldn't people like some privacy? At least if I was in that situation, I would. And I also put on the list some shower chairs because, like I said, we're going to have a ton of showers. And I don't even know if that's possible, but the gym did. Come on. But the only thing is, okay, again, and I'm not trying to be negative here, but again, how many volunteers am I going to have, right? I can't afford to pay people to work there to do it, but all those showers and all those bathrooms and all those mats and the whole nine yards, they're going to need a deep cleaning. Who's going to be doing that? I am. That's another reason why I thought maybe I would have a catering company because I have a ton of stuff that I have to do, like a ton of stuff. And those people who really need the food, the homeless, are probably going to be so happy and ecstatic because they've never really had a catering company. They never really had a gift card to McDonald's or what have you. So I think I'm going to do that, you guys. And give gifts for like Christmas and stuff like that for the people who are really in dire need. I do want to have a food bank. Um, I'm thinking that maybe I should get a hold of the food bank itself. Wouldn't that be a good idea? And ask them about it. I don't have anything set up so far. Obviously, I don't have a building yet. That's an obstacle, but it's not an impossibility. I have a vision that someday we are going to get a big building, even if it's like 4 floors or something. You know, this is what God is telling me to do. Plus, I want to have like a pet drive, if that makes sense, like for food for people who can't afford to feed their pets, or toys or litter or what have you. Um, And I don't know. Hold on. I gotta see what time it is. Okay, we're good. We have like half an hour, maybe a little bit less, but big deal. That's quite a bit of time. And like I said, I do want to get um, like an animal shelter set up if I could. If I could, like if I ever won the lottery or became a millionaire or whatever, honestly, hold on. I had to move that, sorry. Um I would want to put an animal sanctuary, an animal rehab center in my backyard. I've always wanted to do that. I think that would be awesome. I love animals, and it would cost so much money and take up so much of my time. But yet, this charity is going to do the same thing, right? I'm not saying anything bad about it. I'm just saying. So, I don't know. I think the catering idea is awesome, though. Like, I'm so glad I thought about that because, again, the glory goes to God. It's God who gave me the idea, not myself. But anyway, that would save us money from like refrigeration. I'm already gonna have to have washers and dryers because of all of the towels and washcloths and stuff and the bed sheets from the homeless. I should also have a few extra available for them as well, and I should provide the laundry soap. Um, and that was another thing that I thought I could pass out: free laundry soap. Just some essentials for people who are struggling, you know, because this town really needs it. And I also thought about, and yeah, talk about 15 minutes of fame, right? Just like these stupid videos. But anyway, I thought about contacting uh, the news agency, especially when everything gets up and running. Now, unfortunately, our local newspaper is shut down like about a month ago. It is no longer in business. I don't know if they went bankrupt or what happened, but they are no longer in production. So that's not an option. But the bigger city, about an hour away, has a major company. That's all I'm going to say. Cable company that puts on some news that I think might be worth trying out for. Or maybe even like when I get a ton of donations with the clothes. Now, again, an obstacle. Where am I going to put the clothes, right? It's going to be costly, I think, for a storage unit. Um, I don't know if I can have the money. Another obstacle, you guys, that I thought about was how in the world am I going to go to work, you know, and juggle between working and having a charity. I mean, I trust God that it's all going to work out and everything. I'm not complaining. I'm just bringing it forward. I'm just bringing it to everybody's attention. That's what I've been thinking about lately. Is how in the world is this going to work, right? Because I feel like I don't have a choice. I have to work. And at the same time, I have to obey God. So, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know, guys. I just, I'm so happy. Like, I think I should put something on next door, but the problem with that is that I don't want people to know where I live, So how would they drop off donations, you know? Um, that way, and I don't want to fill up this place work with the donations, and I don't want everyone to know that I work here either. So, it's another obstacle that we're going to have to figure out. Like I said, I could probably get a taxi and keep some of the clothes in there. And I'm just afraid, though, in a way, because there's going to be so many clothes that, I'm not going to know what to do with, which is great. Don't get me wrong, but at the same time, it's like, what in the world? Um, things are just crazy, and it's all a good thing. But sorry, I hate this thing. But excuse me. It's all gonna come together. I trust God. I do. That everything is gonna work out, whether it's an obstacle or what. I mean, but these are things that, I can't like just ignore, you know what I mean? I have to place them in God's hands. So, um, I will definitely show you guys like the floor plans of this. And, you know, let's say the construction crew is there one day and I'm in there, I get to record some of it, stuff like that, you guys. Um, this has been my dream since I was 21. Uh, maybe not 21, maybe 23, 24. But still, that was almost 20 years ago, so, I mean, it only goes to prove how old I am, but yeah. um, and I can totally understand how Pastor Jared doesn't want the whole basement of the church filled with clothing. I get that, guys. I do. But see, that was a boundary that he said. I should make a list of a bunch of goals that I want to do within a good time frame, probably by the end of the year for this place. I would love to tell my coworkers about the clothing donations. Like I said, I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to put it on Facebook again because that was a really successful option the last time. I had bags and bags and bags of clothes in my bedroom, and I don't want the same thing again. My bedroom was a lot smaller than what it is now, but still. So, yeah. Like, I think the whole gymnasium thing would be really fun for kids. I really do. And I think it would be kind of like a fundraiser type of thing. Like I said, I would charge parents to use that. Or maybe one day, for the catering for the homeless, we could order pizza, and wings. But, again, if I have a shelter, okay, and this is another obstacle. If I have a shelter, what am I going to do? Like, if I have to be at work, I can't be at the shelter or the charity all day, right? So who's gonna look after any trouble that might occur with the shelter, with the homeless people? That's what I'm afraid of. You know what I mean? Like, what if one of them has a weapon and tries hurting or killing someone? You know what I mean? Like, and I know. That's all the crap that's been in my head lately, you guys, and like I always constantly ask, what if, It's all about trusting God again. That is so annoying. I apologize. Oh my goodness. Anyway, that's something that I thought about though. And what if I don't have enough volunteers? And, is a volunteer gonna be there all night with all those people? You know what I mean? And am I gonna have an office space? And who's gonna be in the office? Me? I mean, I'm not doing this to get any type of money or wealth or anything out of it. No, I'm not. Any type of a prize. It's not about me, you guys. Although I did mention the 15 minutes of fame. But I want people to be able to know about this place. I want people to be able to go there if they need to. And I just hope everything will work out. I gotta have more faith. I've gotta have more. I don't even know what. But see, and that's another reason why I think that God is doing all of this for me and making things come to light is because He wants me to have a testimony. He wants me to get up in front of all the founders and the board of directors or the people who come in for the fundraising dinners or what have you and talk about how he has helped me, what he has done for me, and what has happened with this whole thing. That is why I have a purpose. Each one of us does. So I think I'm going to pray that if there's anything else that God wants me to incorporate in this place, not obviously not work, but in my charity, that He allows it to be known to me. And, this is amazing. I swear to God, I'm gonna cry, you guys, tears of joy because I'm so happy, especially when like the whole building gets built, if that makes sense, or like ripped out and reconstructed, remodeled in the way that I want it, because it's all coming to pass. And then I can have some business cards with my name on them and my phone number and the whole nine. And then, okay, another thing that came to my mind, excuse me, is the fact that, like, that was pretty petty of me. That was pretty stupid of me, you guys, to be afraid to go to in front of my pastor and ask him for this. Of course he's going to say yes, especially if it's something God wants me to do, right? And it's obviously beneficial to the people. Come on. Another man's junk is one man's treasure is another one's. Oh, you know what I mean. I totally screwed that one up, but yeah. Like you haven't heard that before. But it's interesting. I can't believe I was afraid of something so stupid, so petty, so small. I was afraid? I mean, come on. There are a million more things in life that are more substantial to be afraid of than that. Again, maybe that was a test. Maybe that was an act of courage. And maybe it bettered me in that fashion. But today is a great day. And we fought the challenges and the obstacles, and we overcame.